So at Scottish Borders Council, we've got 3 different customer portals, and we're using Jadu as our digital front door, as we've already mentioned. We've been using MyScotBorders for 4 years, and more recently we've set up the car portal. Last week we actually launched the MyScotBorders organisation accounts that David touched on in his presentation. So if you request a service from Scottish Borders Council and you're logged into your MyScotBorders account, which you can access from our website, you're able to track the progress of your request, for example, a school enrolment application or reporting an issue. So here's a little demonstration of somebody reporting a pothole, receiving an update on their case and viewing the status, all accessible through their MyScotBorders account. Hopefully this plays okay. There's no sound, it's just going to be my own voiceover. So the customer will complete the form, providing details in relation to the pothole, and they'll be asked to pinpoint an exact location of the pothole. So once they've submitted their report, their request, once the form has been submitted, the customer will receive an email notifying them that we've received the report, and this will give them the option to log in. So this is them logging into their MyScotBorders account, and if you've got really good eyesight, you can see the status of the case is transitioned to under investigation. So the customer can then check the progress of their case at any time by logging into their MyScotBorders account whenever they want, and view their case, and the back office has now updated the status to reported on the Scottish Roadwork Register. It is quite small to see there. So we have in the region of 60,000 households within the Scottish Borders, and we've had almost 18,000 people sign up for a MyScotBorders account. There has been a limited amount of promotion done, but there are occasions where a customer is required to register for MyScotBorders account before they actually request a service using the online forms. There's several reasons why we would require a customer to register for MyScotBorders. For example, if we've built additional functionality within a process, like a bulky uplift, the customer can completely self-serve and has option to book, pay for, cancel or rearrange a booking without actually having to speak to someone. We know their email address will be correct because when they set up their MyScotBorders account, there is authentication that needs to take place. So education have found this really useful because they regularly have to email parents. So by having a MyScotBorders account, they'll know that the email address is correct. MyScotBorders account is secure. For instance, if we have to make a payment to a customer, we will have validated the customer and we can be satisfied that we're paying the correct person.
So customers can also access their own council tax information through their MyScotBorders account. And to do this, the customer has to register and link their council tax account in the car portal by completing validation, which they only have to do once. So once this has been done, they can then log into their MyScotBorders account at any time, use the widget within their MyScotBorders account page to access their council tax account information. So customers are able to view their latest account information, check their outstanding balances, the instalments due, payment history, bills, recovery notices that have been issued, and that's all within the car portal. And at the moment, we're using the car portal for customers to set up new direct debits or to amend an existing direct debit. And by using the car portal, this integrates with our back office council tax systems, and the details are also imported into our document management system. So there's a record there as well. And as long as the account has been validated through MyScotBorders, the changes to the payment method is processed without any manual intervention, and the amended bill would then be issued to the customer. So the following video, I'm going to show someone accessing the car portal from the MyScotBorders account and starting the process of completing a direct debit request. Okay, so the customer signs into their MyScot Borders account, and once they get into there, they click on View Council Tax, and they have the option to set up a new direct debit or amend an existing direct debit. Now, this is showing someone who hasn't linked their council tax account yet. But regardless of whether they have or haven't linked their council tax account, they're still able to request a new direct debit or amend an existing direct debit through the portal. And once they've completed all their details, if they have linked their council tax account, then this will automatically update in our back office system without any manual intervention. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a live demo. I was a bit nervous about doing this, so that's why we did have the video, but I'm going to go and show you what it will look like for a customer, because I'm a resident of the Scottish Borders. So I've got my own MyScot Borders account, so I can sign in. And I've already linked my council tax account, so I just need to now click on View Council Tax. Being slow, yeah, there we go. So that's me into my council tax information, and I can see I could change my direct debit from here. I can obviously see when my account started, what my balance is. Thankfully, I'm not in arrears for my council tax, as you can see. So I can go to account activity and see further information there about my account when payments have been taken, outstanding balances. So
We launched organisation accounts just last week, but we haven't done any publicity. We've not made businesses aware that this is live now. So the MyScot Borders organisation accounts allows businesses to set up an account, and they actually have control over which users can access the MyScot Borders organisation account. So it'll allow the users of the organisation to report an issue, request a service, and view previous cases. An example of how we would see this working could be in relation to the community recycling centre bookings. So at the moment, a business can make a booking at the community recycling centre using an online form, but they can't track their booking or update this without phoning customer advice. Within organisation accounts, users will be able to view all their bookings and any other cases that are linked to that organisation. Some other ideas of how we might use organisation accounts is to improve the process for a business applying for a trade waste contract and bulky uplift. Each element has to provide a duty of care and verify that they have a waste carrier's licence, but through the organisation account they would only have to do this once each year, and then they can apply for the trade waste contract through their MyScot Borders organisation account. So we've seen a number of improvements as a result of introducing these accounts. This includes a reduction in the number of phone calls coming into customer advice and support, and time savings in the back office. The more streamlined processes have resulted in a number of financial savings and improved the customer's journey, and it's also made a positive impact on reporting management data. So that's all we've got for you today. Thank you very much for your time. Does anybody have any questions?
Lindsay has asked whether I think we mentioned earlier that there were 300 forms, whether all of those integrate with case management, and I think David answered that by saying there was a certain number that were case management enabled. I suppose just on top of that, is there any criteria that the team has to decide whether something should just be a fire and forget form or whether it should actually be a case that's managed in CRM?
I think it just depends on the service that we're providing and how much we want it to be self-serve. So when we were looking at the school enrolment form, for example, there was an element of that the customer has to log in to MyScot Borders because we want to be able to feed back what the back office are doing. So it's kind of down to how much the service want to use the kind of 360 customer journey. So we look at each process in its own merit and make a decision with the service and how it's going to benefit the customer as well.
Thank you. Another question. Have there been any, and I suppose in light of that amazing little demo that you did, Allyson, on the self-serve for council tax sort of revenues and benefits single sign-on, have there been any challenge? So Ian has asked this question. Have there been any challenges with ICT partners to deliver seamless end-to-end integrations from forms, or I suppose the platform?
I think the integration with the car portal was relatively smooth. We don't really have any issues with getting that set up. So from that perspective,
that was revenues and benefits, the car portal, the citizen access revenues, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know you're planning to do some work with highways, aren't you, on the roadmap, some further integrations with highways, and it sounds like you've already done quite a huge amount there. Is that availability of APIs a particular challenge with your back office products? Are there sort of any in the, sort of need to have a conversation with the vendor sort of box?
I don't know if I'm best placed to answer some of these questions. Sorry, I don't know if any of the other members of the team want to come in there at all.
Thanks, Claire.
Yeah, we do rely on our IT business partner to be able to connect systems together. We try and be as self-sufficient as we possibly can, which is why Jadu is so perfect for us, because we can do such a lot of the development of processes ourselves. But there are some sort of more technical elements to our build that we actually need our IT service provider, but they're really supportive of our digital transformation, so they're on board with anything that we aim to achieve.
Great, thank you, Claire. So next question, is the customer updated via email each time the case progresses to the next stage, or is it just in certain stages?
You can choose when the customer's notified. So it depends what the benefit is to inform the customer of it. But usually if there's a transition, the customer does receive some kind of notification to tell them. Yeah.
Great. And of course, the case timeline updates as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, so they can always log in at any point. It doesn't have to be from an email. But generally they will receive some kind of notification to tell them that there's been an update. Yeah.
And tell me, Claire, has the council thought about enabling sort of SMS notifications as well as email and sort of self-service through the MyAccounts?
Yeah, I think David touched on that, so it is something that we would like to investigate further. To notify the customer by text message that there's been a change.
It really does.
We're just looking at that at the moment, Suraj. Our IT business partners are just investigating how we might use gov.notify, which you've got as an integration. So that's on the cards at the moment.
Because it kind of gives the citizen, the business, that full 360, doesn't it? When you're pushing notifications about something that's happened, they can then rest assured and then don't have to call you for updates, do they?
No, that's right. And I know that for community recycling centres, they're really keen to get text reminders out to customers to remind them about their booking, or to cancel their booking if they don't want to use it. That's it.
Does this integrate with My Account from the improvement service?
And initially, when we went live with My Scott Borders, it did integrate, but we made the decision to kind of go in-house and set up our own validation. So there's no integration with improvement service anymore.
But that's not to say, Claire, that we don't want to get back to that at some point. I think it was based on feedback from our customers that journey through Jadu out to MyGovScot and back to Jadu was difficult to manage for some of our customers.
It isn't the best.
No, that's right. But we do want to get back to that because that's our national authentication service. So if we can improve that journey, we will get back to that.
And the MyGovScot service is, I guess, being maintained and iterated. So when that process does get improved, that integration with Jadu is there already and it's available. You can just re-enable it when you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
And final question. Do you have an automated data retention process in place for your data gathering?
Yeah, there is automated data retention. You set that up for each case, each form. And yeah, you set the parameters so that the data will be deleted after however long you want it to be retained.
So
There's
I
such
think,
yeah,
sorry, Suraj. Sorry, Suraj. It was just on the form side of things, that's fully automated already. So we've got consistent data retention across all our forms. So incomplete forms retention after so long, but submitted forms, once they've made actually created the case, they disappear quite quickly. We haven't got automated case data retention set up yet. That functionality is there. We just need to spend that time to develop that with our IT business partners to put that function in place. And once it's there, then that will all automate all that process for us.
Great, thank you. I mean, it's really refreshing to hear that, because it's such an overlooked area, isn't it? But such an important one. You know, when you're collecting personal data, any kind of personal data on customers, retention policies are such an important consideration. Right, so unless there's any other question, oh, there's one more. I think we've got 2 minutes. Oh, there's a couple more actually. Let's go with so this is from Ian. Are the interfaces with NEC bespoke or standard APIs? So this is the integration that you were showing. I think it was it Allyson?
Allyson.
Yeah,
When you were doing
they're
the demo?
standard. Yeah, that's just
Yes.
standard. Yeah,
So they're not bespoke in any way. It's a
no,
standard integration that you're using.
that's right. Yeah.
Great, yes, and just for everyone's, I suppose, knowledge, Jadu worked with NEC Northgate long time ago to build a standard integration. It's available in both platforms. It's just a point-click enablement. Another question on revenues and benefits. Does the Citizen Access Revenues car allow customers to change address, and is this automated?
It does. We haven't implemented that yet, but that is one of the functionality available within NEC Car. Yep.
Okay, and I think that is all of the questions. And if there's anything else, any other questions that anyone wants to ask, please ask them in the Q&A. Failing that, I think we've got a nice long, well, I say nice.